it wouldn't be a San Diego Comic-Con if we weren't starting off with a Power Rangers interview. I'm here with Kenny and Joey. We're talking about Power Rangers Unlimited, the new ongoing series from Boom Studios. Guys, I love talking about Power Rangers with all the previous creators, so I'm excited to add you to my repertoire and my list at this point.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having us.
So let's talk about Unlimited. We've got the launch issue, so that now everyone knows Trini is back in action, but it's a Trini we're a little bit familiar with, and we've got a lot of other familiar faces. So I'd love to hear just how did this story get pitched to you, or did you get to pitch it to Boom? What was the process behind the scenes of bringing this to life?
Yeah, I mean, what was great about working on this was that the sort of direction that we got was we wanted to do like a Justice League Unlimited, but Power Rangers, and that was it. And everything else we built out from there. So Kenny and I worked really closely together and talked to, a lot about what we love about Power Rangers, the kind of things that we wanted to do, or like, we've literally been thinking about this for 30 years. So it's like, okay, what is the thing that we always wanted to do if we had our chance to do a show with unlimited budget, and just like make comics as crazy as we can, and that was Power Rangers Unlimited.
And right off the bat, we have some pretty heavy hitters as far as villains and also some familiar faces. But just getting the story kicked off, we have Lord Zed right away, and a few other favorites. But for you guys, with 30 plus years of history, what was your entry point with Power Rangers?
I was there day one, man. Day of the Dumpster, the first episode that launched. Like, my butt was in that seat watching it. And since then, I was hooked. Like, I grew up loving Godzilla movies and Ultraman and stuff. So when I saw that there was a weekly show with giant robots and monsters, there was no way I was going to miss that. So I've been a fan of the franchise ever since I was a kid, and then like slowly drifted into the Super Sentai stuff, and then would check back constantly. So getting to be able to do this, especially with somebody else who loves the franchise as much as I do, and being able to pull stuff from everywhere has been like a dream come true. So yeah, I've been there since day one.
What about you?
Same. I was in third grade when Mighty Morphin premiered, and it was just like, we talk a lot about like the before and after of our lives pre-Power Rangers, lots of Ninja Turtles, and that was awesome. And then Power Rangers happened, and it was like a totally different ball game. And then it just kept going, and I've loved it. It's literally been my entire life, and so it's cool to be here, like putting all of that passion and knowledge to use.
Now, did you guys know each other before this book was pitched, or how did you get paired up?
No, they contacted us separately and asked us if we'd be interested in the book, and then said we'd be working with each other. But once we jumped on the phone and started talking about it, it was clear that, one, we were going to be BFFs for the rest of our lives after about 10 minutes, and two, we both wanted to do pretty much exactly the same thing with the franchise of just like, I think Joey put it really well in our initial calls, like we just took the toy box and dumped it all out, and we're like, We'll figure out the crazy fake science afterwards and stuff, but we're going to team up multiple combinations, totally different genres. And when we learned we were going to work together, we just completely worked through like a process that works for us with like co-writing and planning everything. And that was one thing we did really early on, is like we planned out the whole first year, and if it keeps going the second year, we even accidentally came up with the idea for the third year on the phone, like not too long ago. So it's been a dream.
Which season of Power Rangers do you feel like is the most underserved across different media?
That's a great question. I feel like RPM probably has a lot of juice left to squeeze. And, we get into that a little bit, I think.
What about you?
That would have been my answer.
Oh, sorry.
RPM. That's okay. I mean, it's just because we're in sync, man.
Also Wild Force.
Yeah. Wild Force is great, too. But yeah, RPM, I love that they were just like, different universe. Let's go Terminator, Mad Max with it. So that was kind of a little bit, I think, at least in the background for me, of like inspiration of like, you can take it in crazy different directions. And that's why we made the mandate of like, let's every issue, while telling an ongoing story, try to do a different genre of like, we start out with an issue with issue number 1, and people have read it as very much like The Raid, where it's like an enclosed big martial arts sort of thing. Issue 2 is a straight up horror slasher, which is really fun. Issue 3's been solicited. That's a heist. Like, it's a fun, like, just stuff we've never seen Power Rangers do before that we think would be really fun to just put them in different situations, and also in combinations that we never got to see them interact with on the show. Like, who's going to be BFFs right away? Who's going to, like, butt heads and stuff? So that's been a real big fun part of it.
I think that's been one of the joy of comics. I mean, we got to see Shattered Grid, where everything started to have the opportunity for crossover.
Yeah.
And I love that Boom has continued this. Of course, we just had the Darkest Hour, but getting to explore some pairings, but also just personalities that shouldn't work together, but they do.
Yeah.
So I guess who has been the biggest surprises as far as the characterizations that you've had to play with?
I have a good answer, but it's like for an issue that isn't solicited yet. I'll tell you after.
Okay.
So I will say I really love in issue 2, Andros and Sky, just two hard-headed dudes just kind of butting heads a little bit, and that has been really fun. But then by the end of the issue, earning each other's respect and all that stuff has been really, really fun.
Yeah, I'd agree with that because I'm afraid to say anything that would spoil any issues later. But one of the great things about it that we worked with the Doctor Who time travel thing is that we can pull people from any points in the timeline when they're available to team up. So like you said, the Andros and Sky thing, we still get a Sky who's not happy that he wasn't picked to be a Red Ranger in SPD, taking orders from yet another Red Ranger who's more experienced than he is. So that time travel element also allows us to pull people into situations where they might be in a different point in their lives, and then we might be able to pull them again later when they're older or they're on a different team and stuff. So that's been a real big fun part of it. But I'd say the Andros and Sky thing was definitely, there was some very fun quip writing back and forth that we were doing with them butting heads that I think was great.
I appreciated the pacing with the first issue. It's so hard when you're just jumping into a story, and I think you guys really executed it well with the balance of the fan service, but also what is this narrative going to be? What are we experiencing? Why Unlimited? And it really did come across, I think, as a very strong opening salvo.
Oh, thank you
so much.
That was our kind of goal with the first issue was we have to not only set the story up and the main character, but we also have to sell how this works and how nothing's off the table. So that's why we structure that way of let's just go all out. Let's make Alessio break his poor little fingers trying.
Worth it, if you ask me.
And he loves it. And Federico, who's doing issue 2, they both we constantly try to give them the coolest stuff to draw so that they stay excited about it. And every thread that we do, either it's between us or with the artists, everybody's so pumped to be doing it because we're I can't believe we get to do this with Power Rangers that take it in these crazy directions.
Yeah.
Did you get to a full series rewatch before you dove in, or was it more of just checking back on maybe some of the areas that needed a little bit of refreshment?
So when we got this gig, Mighty Morphin, I feel like I'm pretty good. I used to do Comics Press, or I worked at IGN back in the day, and I did a comprehensive rewatch and wrote about it. So I feel like I'm pretty good in that regard. But once we got this gig, I definitely started basically from In Space and started a rewatch.
That's a good place to start if you have to.
It's been a blast.
What about you?
I'm cursed with just remembering everything. So I pretty much remember a ton of stuff in the seasons that I missed. I've gone back and reread or watched big chunks of them and stuff, but I'm pretty good on the phone at just about being oh yeah, and then in this season when this guy showed up without looking it up. So
it's pretty remarkable. I gotta say,
part of my mutant power. I don't know that Xavier's going to be knocking on my door anytime soon.
It's
encyclopedic
deep
Power
lore.
Rangers knowledge.
Yeah, deep lore and fake science are Kenny's specialties.
They're just trying to fight Magneto. I'm hey, did you know in Lost Galaxy the bad guys were actually supposed to be these orange pirates or whatever? It's pretty neat that.
Well, since you brought up Lost Galaxy, I have to say Terra Venture 2 made me very happy to see that the ongoing space station adventures were going to happen in some fashion.
They're trying to build a better tomorrow, but challenged in every direction.
Well, on the encyclopedic knowledge comment, almost 10 years ago, I was meeting with Ryan Parrott in this booth, talking about his launch for his take on Power Rangers, and it was pretty much just us going back and forth to talk about episodes. He's like, "Oh shit, you actually do know Power Rangers," and it was just that moment of getting to geek out. So I've known Kyle for a long time. I've known Melissa, and just really I have a deep appreciation for what you guys do.
Thank you.
And you can see the passion for these characters come through really within the first issue alone. It's very, very clear. But I'm truly excited to see what you do with Unlimited.
Thank you so much. That really, honestly, this is a dream gig. This is the goal when I was I want to make comics. I want to make my own comics, but in terms of characters I want to work on, Power Rangers was it. So I feel very fortunate to be here. And to hear that means a lot. So thank you.
Well, I have to ask the very big question. We got to see Billy return, but in a different fashion at the very end. How did that setup come about? Was that something you pitched, or is that something that
there was talk about, like, you know, and this thread is dangling, and we were like, we'll take that.
That's right, yeah. Because originally it was just do Unlimited, team them up, and we were the ones who were just like the crazy machinations, and they were like, there's this dangling thread with Billy, if you want to use that.
Yeah.
And you took that and ran with it.
Yeah, and I think like that's part of the fun of, you know, whether it's superhero comics or, you know, crazy TV shows like this, is that you can just do whatever if you make it make sense within the world. And I think using that version of Billy really ties like all these different versions of characters, and, you know, sort of like centralizes him as like the focal point of the Morphin Grid in a lot of ways. So like, who knows what direction that could go from there.
Well, it's very clear that we all want more Power Rangers on television, but if we're not going to get that for at least a little while, it's nice that you guys have found a way to blend both the TV elements as well as the Boom comics.
Thank you.
To give us something new and exciting.
Yeah, you know, that's the goal, is just to like make it the Power Rangers that we all love, but push it in new directions or unexpected directions, and just like widen the scope a little bit in a way that only comic books could do.
Well, aside from Power Rangers, anything else coming up that you guys are working on that you would like to share?
Yeah, right now I've got a new Elseworld series from DC coming out called Superman Father of Tomorrow with Danny Earls. That's about Jor-El being the only survivor of Krypton and landing, becoming more of like a Reed Richards, Tony Stark type Superman. And then I also have a creator-owned book through IDW Dark called Operation Iron Coffin that just dropped, and that's about the British dropping Dracula like a bomb on the Nazis in World War II, and him in this big like Spawn Indiana Jones style Faustian bargain revenge story about coming back to life. So I've got those coming out right now, and then some more stuff in the pipeline.
Fantastic. What about you?
Just wanted to say that everyone should read Operation Iron Coffin because it's fucking awesome. I also have a book coming from IDW Crime, Killer Influences. Issue 1 came out the same day as Power Rangers Unlimited #1. It's about a true crime influencer who teams up with a serial killer to try and build his brand and get rich.
And I love that book.
Thank you. It's very dark, but it's like a dark satire. If you like things like American Psycho, I think you'll dig it.
Well, we love our friends at Boom Studios as well as IDW Publishing, so always happy to share and promote, and very excited for what you guys have coming up.